You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know, love will save the day. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know, love will save the day. Got to be bold, got to be bad, got to be wise, you're never sad. Got to be hard, not too hard. All I know is love will save the day. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger.
Hi, and welcome. I'm Gretchen Mowney, and I am the UUA's Accessibility Resources Coordinator. My pronouns are she and they, and I am zooming in from Columbia, Missouri. I'm a disabled, white, elder millennial with short, blue-streaked brown hair, and today I am wearing a joyful blue with other colors scarf, along with my standard black top and multiple pairs of headphones. To increase accessibility, we have employed both CART and ASL, and we will be describing visual elements. If you have any access needs that aren't being met, please direct them to our technology manager, Wendy Werrick. The meeting is being recorded for use as an accessibility resource, and the recording and transcript will be emailed out at some point in the coming weeks. A final note, please know that it is always okay to turn off your camera and/or leave the meeting space at any time. It's also okay to show up however you are able. This includes lying down, moving around, and more. However you show up, whoever you are beloved and welcome here. Our opening words are by Leslie Takahashi Morris from the anthology Voices from the Margins. They teach us to read in black and white. Truth is this, the rest false. You are whole or broken. Who you love is acceptable or not. Life tells its truth in many hues, but we are taught to think in either or. To believe the teachings of Jesus or Buddha. To believe in human potential or a power beyond a single will. I am broken or I am powerful. Life embraces multiple truths, speaks of both and of and. We are taught to see in absolutes, good versus evil, male versus female, old versus young, gay versus straight. Let us see the fractions, the spectrum, the margins. Let us open our hearts to the complexity of our worlds. Let us make our lives sanctuaries to nurture our many identities. The day is coming when all will know that the rainbow world is more gorgeous than monochrome, that a river of identities can ebb and flow over the static, stubborn rocks in its course, that the margins hold the center. Our chalice is now lit, and our opening song is Come Sing a Song with Me. Words and music by Carolyn McDade, and the music video singers include Brian Kenny, Elena Hemingway, and the KUUF Choir. The video shows several different garden views with insects, colorful flowers, and a bench. This is Gretchen again, and I am so happy to welcome you to our May Uplift Access webinar. These monthly lunchtime learning sessions provide lay leaders and religious professionals an opportunity to learn about an array of topics regarding accessibility, inclusion, and disability justice, and how to apply the information to their work within Unitarian Universalism. As Unitarian Universalists, we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of all people, but we don't always know what that looks like in action. We are called to dismantle forms of oppression in ourselves and in our institutions, but we don't always know how. Through presentations on accessible practices, by dismantling systemic ableism, and by highlighting the disabled UU experience, we aspire to equip you with the knowledge and the tools to live these values out loud when it comes to our disabled siblings. This month, we are talking about making deeper joy activities accessible to all participants. Deeper Joy is a compendium of games, songs, activities, and practices for building radically inclusive, accessible, multi-generational spiritual communities. And here to talk about Deeper Joy and accessibility is my colleague, Jenica Davis Hockett, she, her, who serves as youth and emerging adult ministry staff for Lifespan Faith Engagement and the liaison for the New England region. Jenica has worked in UU religious education and youth ministry since 2008. Since then, she has served as youth advisor, program coordinator, and religious education assistant for First Unitarian Church Salt Lake, district youth ministry consultant for Mountain Desert, regional youth ministry specialist for Pacific Western, and youth ministry associate for the Office of Youth and Young Adult Ministries. She now serves as youth and emerging adult specialist for life and lifetime faith engagement. Jenica is the project lead for Deeper Joy, games, activities, and practices for community builders, and the editor of the second edition of Youth Administry Advising, a complete guide, Pure Pastoral Care, a UU Institute course, and the UU Youth Ministry volunteer course on UU Institute. Jenica is passionate about creating multi-generational communities of care, I'll say, that center young people, especially young people with marginalized identities, those going through life's transitions, and those experiencing mental health challenges. Her spiritual practices include learning things from her flower and medicinal herb garden, sitting with her Buddhist meditation Sangha, practicing anti-oppressive parenting, and being a total nerd for relationship dynamics. Jenica, thank you so very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Gretchen. I'm so excited to be here. This is a wonderful group of people. Yes, so I use she, her pronouns, and I'm in my living room today with an orange wall with ukuleles to my left, and a white wall with a bookcase behind me, and an orange chair to my right. And I'm wearing my brown hair up in a messy bun. I've got white skin with older millennial wear and tear, some nose jewelry, and rimmed glasses. And I am wearing a white cardigan and a gray top. So I work for Lifespan Faith Engagement, and we're the office at the UUA that asks, what do we teach when we're together as Unitarian Universalists, and how do we teach it? And the how is my favorite conversation to have, and it's what we're going to be talking about today. And the most exciting way to me that we teach Unitarian Universalism is through that direct experience of the kind of world that we're trying to co-create. And that world is one of joy and liberation in beloved community. And the way that I get to do that in my work is sharing about Deeper Joy, which is this compendium of songs and activities and practices and games for building radically inclusive, accessible, and multi-generational spiritually grounded communities. So raise your hand, use an icon, or put something in the chat to let me know if you know about Deeper Joy already. Yes. Oh, I see some thumbs up. I see some head shakes. No. Oh, this is cool. Okay. I love to be speaking with a room with a spectrum of knowledge about Deeper Joy. So one of the working principles of Deeper Joy is that joy is building capacity together to get more free. So in a context like Uplift Access, I want to point out that it takes more time and more work, more energy than we usually allot to do things accessibly and inclusively, but it is worth it. So a principle of deeper joy is doing less, but better. And when we play together, it's not just to forget about our worries for a while. It actually builds the resilience that we need to face life's many challenges and to do it together. So I want to open it up to the room. You can unmute and share aloud. You can write something in the chat. And I want to celebrate many ways to communicate authentically here. So you could even draw a picture and hold it up, and we'll provide a visual description of the picture. Any way that you want to share, I want to ask you, what brings you joy? How do you cultivate it? And what gets in the way of joy? What brings you joy? How do you cultivate it? And what gets in the way of your joy? You can answer all three of those questions. You can riff off of any one of those prompts. And I'll read aloud what's shared in the chat.
Okay, I'm going to share. Accessibility brings me joy. And my dog. And inaccessibility gets in the way of my joy. But I cultivate it by asking other people what they need and what their access needs are, and meeting those access needs.
I love that. I love that. And Jessica writes, children and nature bring me joy. And Michael says, blackness with a lot of exclamation marks brings Michael joy. Yeah, Leilani.
What brings me joy is working with children, teaching children. I volunteer at our UU church. What gets in the way is often other people trying to measure. Are we doing it right? Is it does it look like school? So when I'm having when I'm teaching the children and we're making things, we're sewing, we're having experiential learning, other adults, sometimes even the other teachers, will be like, how is this learning our values, right? They'll look at it and they'll be like, there's no measuring, right? And as opposed to that experiential, creating the world that we want to live in, right? So I love teaching. I love doing with the kids. So we've been sewing buttons, we've been making little creatures, and yeah, I think that's it. Like, I want to teach. I'm listening to what you're saying and how to teach the adults. So how to teach the adults that this kind of learning is important.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I saw Kat give the universal yes knock. Yeah. Yeah. And Shauna writes in the chat, music, singing brings me joy. Yeah, Leilani, another principle of deeper joy is that joy itself is a metric. So, we've got the numbers, or we've got how do we do it right? But really, if we're using joy as our metric, then we're moving forward together. Okay, So the heart of Deeper Joy is this community building map. I'm going to share my screen and then I'll describe the map in a moment.
And I'm going to fill the space while you're doing that. Kat, did you see Kat's message?
Ooh,
It might have been just to me. Poetry, painting, activism, the company of people who acknowledge current reality and navigate it with intent, helping those in pain and visibility.
ooh, yes. Thank you, Wendy. Oh, yeah, that's great. Okay, can you see my screen with the map on it?
Not yet. It says you have started screen sharing, but not.
Okay.
There you go. We're there.
Now it is. Okay. Whoops, I gotta get my script on a new screen. Because if I do this, this map goes away. Is that right? Or is it still
It's
there?
still there.
Oh, still there. Great. Okay. All right. So okay, so we've blended Denny Ryberg's 5 stages of community building with a number of other community building models and added points on this community building map that are specific to spiritual community and UU faith formation. We've done away with the idea of stages like Denny Ryberg had altogether, and instead we're thinking about the features of community. And these community features are all represented as landmarks or places on the community building map. So there's no singular linear way to move about the map. You'll be able to amble around it. So on this slide is a whimsical, colorful, illustrated map depicting a variety of enchanted places. I really do smile whenever I look at this map because it has a playfully inviting color palette with vibrant greens and blues and earthy tones, and it reminds me of a journey through a different relational landscape. It has so much fun detail, like the different blues from cerulean to teal to denote the different depths of water at the bottom of the map. And the banners at each location add a handmade touch to the map, as if each label was lovingly crafted just for this adventure out of parchment paper, and it's kind of waving in the breeze. Claire Pullen, who is a UU young adult and a creative visual storyteller, is the person who created this map for us. So located in the top left corner of the map are the canyons of Deeper Sharing, and these twisty, turny canyons are depicted with a deep red rock orange, winding paths that are filled with sparkling water. And the canyons represent that in the right conditions and with enough preparation, groups can support each other in the depths and the heights of their spiritual growth. And this deeper sharing can mean stories about ourselves, sharing about our feelings and our situations, sharing experiences together, making memories that are shared, and sharing moments of awe and wonder together. So right in the heart of the map are the healing springs, which bubble with magical, clear blue waters surrounded by lush greenery and weeping willows. So when there's hurt or harm in a community or beyond a community, the way we show up for each other really matters. And repair and amends and recovery are vital on this journey to deeper joy. So the stretching river is a waterway that connects every corner of the land. And this stretching river represents the trials, the problem-solving opportunities, the challenges that can all bring a group closer to each other. And the river meanders down from the canyons of Deeper Sharing and is fed by the healing springs. And then after it passes through some rapid-making rocks, it splits into tributaries that opens into the Bonding Harbor. So on the right side of the stretching river is the Forest of Affirmation, and this is a happy grove of trees at the edge, and at the edge there's a little wooden welcoming sign. So when we value others' experiences, when we witness their growth, and when we support them in their tender moments, our own trustworthiness increases. So these are the times when we offer gratitude to each other and to the group as a whole and celebrate our differences and our gifts. So in the top right corner, There are dramatic cliffs towering above the crashing dark blue waves, and that's labeled cliffs of exclusivity. So these are the jagged borders, or where we actively or inadvertently keep others out instead of drawing the circle wider. So standing tall on the far right middle edge of the map is the red and white striped Covenant Lighthouse, and it beams with a bright guiding light. So like this red and white striped beacon in rough waters, the agreements that we make with one another guide our way. And covenants are our UU theology of messing up and repair. They're what we can refer back to when we get lost. Like a lighthouse, our covenants create the conditions for safety. Below the lighthouse on the bottom right is the sunny opening up beach that has dunes and grasses and some fencing, and the waves are soft on the shore. And when we share low risk or non-threatening stuff about ourselves and our lives, and we feel like we are received, considered, and valued, our sense of safety within a group increases. Okay, situated near the bottom of the map, there's a crescent-shaped harbor labeled the Bonding Harbor, and it has one sailboat in it and another one approaching. And I love this. This is my favorite detail. Their little red flags are waving at each other excitedly in the wind. And in the bottom left corner is another crescent shape that kind of mirrors the Bonding Harbor, and it's called the Tepid Bay. It's somewhat isolated from the other parts of the map, and there are two sailboats in this bay, but they're pointing away from each other, and there's no wind, so their little red flags are drooping and their boats are adrift. So the first step in community building would be in the Bonding Harbor is to identify some cohesiveness and very low stakes of sense of contributing to the collective. But when we're in the tepid bay, it might be tempting to just endlessly paddle around where the waters are calm and you're a safe distance away from everything. But the waters here are pretty shallow, and after the sun sets, it's kind of lonely out there in the tepid bay. So if you were to go to uua.org/deeper-joy, Wendy's going to put the link to this in the chat, you'll find this map, and you could select any of the locations to find a bunch of games and activities and practices that you as a facilitator can try on with your group, regardless of their age, to help them bond and open up and heal. And what we're going to talk about today is how to make sure the activity that you pick for your group is accessible to every participant. Okay, so now how would you make this map itself accessible? That's going to depend on your context. So in this context right now, we're all here online at the same time, and I can provide a visual description for those who can't see it. But let's say you want to buy the map from the bookstore. Shameless plug for buying the map from the bookstore in the chat now. And you want people with limited sight to be able to interact with it in an ongoing way when there's no one available to provide a visual description. Gretchen gave me the great idea that I've passed along to my other colleague, Ember Kelly, who is creating a role-playing game using the community building map to Deeper Joy, to have a group session where everyone creates a 3D tactile version of the map. So you could build right on top of the poster using materials like pipe cleaners or foam, that sticky foam, anything that you could find in a religious education closet. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, but I want to point out, if you want to get in on the piloting of this Deeper Joy role-playing game, you can review the first 5 lessons, and Wendy will put the link to that in the chat, and we'll send out all these links. Can we do that, Gretchen? Send out all the links afterwards? Okay, yes, I see a nod. So there's a link to the first 5 lessons of that Deeper Joy role-playing game, and then there's another link that's a Google form that you can fill out to be added to the list of congregations who want to pilot this Deeper Joy role-playing game. Okay, I have talked for long enough. I want to play a game with y'all. And we're going to try a game today that I have used universal design to adapt. So universal design is the design of spaces and things in such a way that it's usable to anyone, regardless of ability or age or background. So if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense for us Unitarian Universalists to be building out this way, to think of universal design as the foundation of how we create. But even in attempting universal design, you're likely going to need to adapt a game or activity, again, based on your context and based on who's in the room. So we're going to try out this game, Mighty Wind Blows, and after, I'll open it up to discussion with the prompt, what did you notice that made this version accessible to people with disabilities? And or how could this game be changed even more to be accessible in this context and this with the people who are in this room? Okay, so I used to love to play this game, Mighty Wind Blows, as an icebreaker at youth conferences. It goes by many names: Big Wind Blows, Spill the Basket, All My Friends and Neighbors. And here's how it would work. Everyone would sit in a circle, and then whoever was it would stand in the middle and say, the mighty wind blows for everyone who, and then they'd say something that was true about themselves, like dyed their hair. And then everyone with dyed hair would jump up out of their chairs, run like mad across the room to try and find another chair. And inevitably, there'd be a final two who would tussle over the last chair, and the loser would be prodded into the middle to serve as it. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with this game for the people for whom it worked, but it left a lot of people out. For people with limited mobility, for people who can't process in frenetic and loud environments, for people with social anxiety, this get to know you game was just a total nightmare. So here's the adaptation that we're going to try right now. I have the directions on a slide, and I'll read it to you, and we'll put the directions in the chat too. So there we go. All right. And we can see the slide. Can I have a thumbs up if anybody? Yes. Okay. All right. So the person who's the lead introduces themselves, and then they're greeted by the group. So we'll come off mute, and it'll be a little cacophonous, but that'll be just fine. And then pick something about themselves that they might have in common with other members of the group. So an example is, hi, I'm Alex. And then everybody would shout, hi, Alex. And then the mighty wind blows for people who, and then you come up with something about yourself that's true. So maybe has ever dyed their hair a color of the rainbow. And then everyone to whom this applies makes an agreed upon gesture that's noticeable to the person in the lead. So it might be like a vocal hoot, or it might be a waving hand, standing up, stepping forward to the center of the circle, whatever works for the group. And then the lead chooses someone to go next, and then that person can accept or they can pass. And the game ends when everyone who wants to has had a chance to be the lead. All right, so I'll put these directions in the chat, and I'll stop the screen share. Oh, and I also want to note what Kat says in the chat. When I was an early intervention supervisor, we put up signs. When we build together with blocks, we are learning blank. That one had a long list of. And when we craft, we are learning blank. When we listen to stories together, we are learning blank, etc. The signs changed the questions the parents and quote experts or bossy adults asked. Ooh, I love that. All right, so we've got the directions for the game in the chat, and if anyone wants a refresher out loud, we can definitely do that. Are there any questions about the game before we try it on? Okay, I see no questions. So I'll start us off. Oh, wait, no, before. What do we want our our signal to be? We could do like jazz hands and a vocal woo woo.
How about both a woo woo and a gesture? So because I can't see the gesture, but other people could see the gesture, but I can hear the woo woo. So
Yes. And then Gretchen, now I'm thinking maybe even instead of woo woo, we say our name.
oh yeah, because then I get to know who it is.
Let's do that. Let's do that. Okay. So if what the person says is true for you, you'll say your name and you'll do jazz hands. All right? Okay. So raised hand not requiring finger moving. Ooh, okay. Thank you. Okay. No jazz hands, just raised hand and your name. Excellent. Okay. So, hi, I'm Jenica.
Hi, Jenica.
And the mighty wind blows for anyone wearing glasses.
Shauna. Woo.
Cat and woo.
Leilani.
Okay, I choose cat.
Oh my. Okay. The mighty wind blows for anyone who has experience of chronic pain or a family member who has experience of chronic pain.
Oh yeah.
And I'm Cat.
Gretchen.
Leilani.
Well, I have to choose, right? I choose Shayna.
Oh, I think you have to choose
I-
someone that said yes.
Oh, do I? I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Didn't Sean? Oh, okay. Then I choose Leilani.
Thank you. The mighty wind blows for everyone who has the experience of teaching.
Mm.
Jenica.
Shauna. Woo.
Cat woo woo.
Gretchen.
And I pick Shauna.
Okay, thanks. Hi, everyone. I am Shauna, she, they pronouns.
Hi, Shauna.
Hi, Shauna.
And the big wind blows for people who have ever gone to a visibility or protest or other activism type event.
Gretchen. Woo woo.
Cat woo woo.
Okay,
Leilani. Woo.
all right. I will pick Gretchen next.
This is Gretchen.
Hi, Gretchen.
Hi, Gretchen.
Hey.
And
The mighty wind blows for anyone who has ever dyed their hair blue.
Ooh. Jenica.
Shauna.
Christy
Awesome.
too.
Who was that?
Christy
Ah. Christy, have you gone yet?
I'm still working, Gretchen, but thank you so much.
Okay. Jenica, I pick you.
Ooh, okay. Hi, I'm Jenica. And the mighty wind blows for anyone wearing their hair up.
Gretchen, woo.
Okay, I call on Jessica.
Hi, I'm Jessica.
Hey, Jessica.
Hey, Jessica.
Yeah.
Mighty wind blows for anyone who enjoys spending time outside.
Who enjoys what?
Spending time outside.
Ooh, Jenica.
Cat woo
Shauna.
woo.
When there's not too many mosquitoes. Gretchen.
With caveats. I will call on
Leilani. When it's not too hot.
Shauna, when there's not too many mosquitoes or black flies.
All right, we will
Oh,
pass to Kat.
The cat. Okay.
hi, Kat.
Hi, I'm Kat. And I wasn't thinking of what to say next. Okay. So the mighty wind blows for everyone who thinks in pictures or music.
I think in pictures a lot. Gotcha.
Leilani.
Mhm.
Did
And-
everyone who wanted a chance to go get to be in the lead? Anybody? Yes, I see nods. Okay, and thumbs up and knocks. All right. I love that game. I know so much more about you just after a short couple of minutes. And it's kind of low risk because as you're in the lead, you get to choose, you get to opt in, you get to share, you get to disclose your level of comfort. And if it was true for you, but you didn't feel comfortable in saying it, you could just not say that it was also true for you. So it gives every participant a real sense of agency in what they want to share with the group. Let's open it up for conversation. What did you notice from, the way I described the way the game was traditionally played to how we played it today? What was accessible about how we played it, and how could we make it even more accessible based on maybe either this context or what context you would be playing it at home? Ooh, that was a lot of questions. So how was it accessible? How could we make it more accessible here or in your own context? Yeah, Kat.
You invited questions and modifications to the way that the game would be played. I think it could be made more accessible with a pause at that point, so that people who might be neurodivergent or have other needs to catch up with what was said would be able to do so. And then also, I think, like thinking in terms of a room of people with disabilities, beginning there so that when we're thinking about things like, like for me, tremors and specific finger movement are a problem. And of course, they're especially a problem if I'm trying to sign, but still. But the thing I would most recommend is that pause. Not having the pause often interferes with the comprehension of people who hear and understand in different ways.
Thank you, Kat. Yes, and Leilani puts in the chat, more accessible by referring to microphone as turning our mic on rather than potentially ableist language. Yeah.
Yes.
I thought unmuted. Okay. I really appreciated how it was accessible in that people both were making a gesture and sound. Frequently as a blind person, I'm a part of things where people just like raise their hand and I'm like, huh. So that was awesome. Also that you asked. I think that's such a big part of things people forget, but it's so simple, is asking what works for people, and what's going to make it accessible. And I am always learning. So I loved that someone, when we were discussing it, mentioned that, hey, how about just raise hand instead of wiggle fingers? Like, I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't even think about that. Yes. We don't want to be like, you need to be dexterous to be able to do this. Like, so I think just asking is so big, and being able to adapt your game depending on who you're with.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. And Shauna.
There, am I unmuted now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's there. Now it is. Oh, this is Shauna. I love the accessibility pieces that were brought in. And I got to thinking just now as we're talking about accessibility that wasn't there is that we had sound for people who might not see the gestures, and we had gestures for people who would see them. And I'm then thinking also for anyone nonverbal, having a way, being able to type woo in and their name in the chat, or would be another accessibility that we could add.
Ooh, yes, yes, many ways to communicate.
And I'm probably there's probably like 3 more that I'm not thinking of, but yeah, that to expand our thinking on all the different ways.
Yeah, yeah. And Leilani says, playing a variation with this game, when I teach kids, we use ASL signs.
I think you could also play it with people that used picture communication systems, as long as you had those set up in advance, which is often true for younger neurodivergent kids, especially, or sometimes it's difficult to be regulated enough to type. And not everyone uses sign language or can, partly because, although sign language is more static than speech, it's still not static. So there's that. And then the other piece is that to remember that typing is verbal, signing is verbal. These are uses of verbal language, but that other things like the waving of a hand, a love sign, might, although they are words, love is often the first word that we teach children who are learning sign language, because it's the most important word there is. So. Thank you, Gretchen. The same right back at you. I don't think you can see it, but yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, I love this so much. Every time I do this, I learn something. I learn so much from getting to play these games, and I hope that you all were able to share some wisdom with each other. And I'm gonna pass it back over to Gretchen now for our next spot, but I want to put Wendy, would you please put the link to this particular game in the chat? And I think it was Kat who said that, you got to do some preparation and put some pre-work into making these, into like what you choose and then how you adapt it for the moment. And so take some time to peruse the Deeper Joy website and find what might work for your group. And I'll pass it back to you, Gretchen.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Jenica. It's just been delightful, and I've learned a lot too. We are actually just gonna skip over a song we were gonna play because we had such awesome discussion. And before I move into a couple closing items, does anyone have any, and I will send out these links, but does anyone have any final questions for Jenica?
I see some shakes, head no, and some thank yous.
Cool. I was trying to be good about pausing in case people wanted to think. Thanks. Well, okay. Thanks for being flexible, y'all. I've got one more thing, and it's a totally different topic. So I'm going to do a quick call to action here. Last night, or maybe more early this morning, the Congress, the US House, passed out what I'm calling the Destroy Medicaid and Food Stamps bill, and passed that on to the Senate. And what I'm going to ask y'all to do, if you have the time, the capacity, the spoons, whatever it is for you, please, even if you think it won't do any good, please do people across our country a favor and call your senator and ask them to do whatever they can to save lives and prevent cuts to Medicaid and food stamps. Wendy is dropping in the Capitol switchboard phone number into the chat. And thanks so much. When I went blind in 2007, I went on Medicaid and food stamps, and they made a huge difference for me. And I know they still make a huge difference for millions of people. Thanks for that. And thanks for however, there are many ways to take action in this world. And thanks for whatever you do to make a difference for everybody.
And I pause you
So-
there, Gretchen. Kat has their hand raised.
Oh, yes, Kat.
Okay, that work? Yes, okay. It's important to remember that if you have senators that are really deeply committed to MAGA because they want to be this or that person in the future, that you can still call senators in other states. And even better, if you know somebody who lives in that other state, especially swing states where they might be concerned about keeping their seats, you can call them too. And I do think even in Florida, although I don't know, I might be the only person here from the, I don't know, what are we going to call it? The Fourth Reich. Even in Florida, Medicare and Medicaid are a big deal. This is the state with the oldest average population in the country. But that they be really pointed in what it is that they're complaining about. And when they talk about access to Medicare, Medicaid, or Social Security, which I think is also impacted, that those specifics make a difference because people are seeing that that's not flying with their constituents. So that was a long speech and I'm being quiet.
Wow, thanks, Kat. This is also important, and I know that this is very concerning to a lot of people. So moving back to deeper joy, which joy is a active resistance, just not the only one. But I want to thank everybody for engaging in this work of love and radical welcome with us today and in days to come. Thank you to Jenica Davis Hockett, my colleague and friend, for joining us today. Thank you to Wendy Warwick. Thank you to our ASL interpreters and Kirk Captioner. Thank you to my boss, the Reverend Michael Crumpler, for his guidance. And our closing song today, Look Up, by Joy Aladiku. Sorry for any mispronunciation there. The video shows a static image of a Black person in a black top looking up. They have braided hair and they are sitting in a field of green plants.
Sometimes your life feels like a broken roller coaster, 1,000 useless moving parts. Sometimes you spend your nights too scared of getting closer, hiding out in the backseat of your car. You tell yourself it's raining, the clouds are in your head. You tell yourself it's better to jump before you fall again, before you lose it all again. Look up, do you see the sunlight? Look up, there's flowers in your head. Hold on, 'cause somebody loves you. You know trouble's always gonna be there. Don't let it bring you to your knees. Look up. Mondays aren't always bright. Some days you lose the fight, but life can be beautiful if you let it be. Tomorrow keeps taunting you with all kinds of mystery. It's a blank page for your poetry if you let it be. So don't tell yourself it's raining, the clouds are in your head. You tell yourself it's better to jump before you fall again, before you lose it all again. Look up, do you see the sunlight? Look up, there's flowers in your head. Hold on, there's somebody loves you. You know trouble's always gonna be there. Don't let it bring you to your knees, yeah. Look up. Look up. Hold on. Look up. Sometimes your life feels like a broken roller coaster, 1,000 useless moving parts. Look up, do you see the sunlight? Look up, there's flowers in your head. Hold on, 'cause somebody loves you. You know trouble's always gonna be there. Don't let it bring you to your knees, yeah. Look up. Trouble's always gonna be there. Look up. Don't let it bring you to your knees. Look up.
Thanks, everybody. This is our last Uplift Access webinar of the church year. Stay tuned and follow, subscribe to my newsletter if you don't already do so, the Uplift Access newsletter, to stay tuned to what's next for us. And if you have any questions, of course, please reach out. You can reach me at accessibility@uua.org. You can also reach my awesome colleague, the Reverend Amanda Schuber, at aschuber, at ASCHUBER @uua.org. And thanks so much.